Hey guys, Taylor here, back with episode 5 of Precision Loading video series. Um, Today we're going over priming your shells. Um, so if you've been watching episode 1, we went through and worked on uniforming, reaming your primer pockets, and then uniforming your flash hole. So go back and check that if you want. If you haven't gone over that today, that's done. So we're going to get right on into priming. So I use Federal Gold Match primers. I've used the CCI 200s in the past. I personally haven't done the research to determine which one is more consistent on the velocities. I've been told these are better. I use them. They don't cost that much more. They're a little harder to find. But Sinclair Brownells, they have them available for you. So I've got my priming tool here, and we're just going to dump out 20 of these primers here. Pop it up, tip it upside down, and they all fall in. Cool trick, if you guys don't know, there's these ridges in your priming tool, right? You can just shake it a bit, and every primer will end up right side up. Neat trick. It took me like a year to learn that one. So we'll set that up, open up our stop, and it's going to drop a primer into that hole there. I don't think you can see it, but we got a primer in there. Slip your shell in, make sure it's in there nice and tight, and then just with some slight pressure, you want to compress this right there until that seats. Right? So, and then I like to go over and just double check that it sat correctly. This one happens to be just a little bit high, so I'm going to put it back in there, push the ram up one more time, feel it, we're good. Again, we talked about case sorting in video 2, I believe. Taking it out of a spot, putting it in the exact same spot so that my cases are sorted accurately. So just compress that, and it's hard to show. But a tip, I've done this one. These are designed so that when you pull, it automatically, shoot, there goes a primer. It automatically goes away from you. Let it, don't point it at your face. I did have one of these go off on me as I was priming on my AR. I failed to take the military crimp out when I was putting my primers in, and I actually detonated a primer. So, right, so just set it in there. You want to use even pressure up to the top. If you have a more expensive hand primer than this one, like a Lee, you can actually do it to the point where you feel the primer seat all the way. You don't necessarily pull it in full every time. Mine isn't that sensitive, and the top of the ram, same every time. I get the same primer depth. I'm going to finish these up. I'll be back in a minute. All right, guys, so I just primed all 20 of these, and as I mentioned, you want to go through and just, you can use your finger, but you just want to run your finger over there and ensure that none of these primers have, rephrase that, each primer is seated flush or even just 1,000th or 2,000th below the base of your case. If it extends a little much, A, it's not seated correctly, you're going to have a little bit of a different burn, and B, they can be triggered inadvertently. Something can bump them, they can drop. So just double check that. And really the things you want to watch out for when you're doing this, make sure you have a uniform depth. Make sure you've reamed, make sure you've uniformed your primer pocket before you insert any primers. as you are raising your ram up, even pressure the whole way. If it sticks, there's an issue, stop, pull your case out, take a look at it. Sometimes I've actually had 2 primers get inside my ram and I'm trying to push 2 in there. But stop, don't move forward. It's not worth it. And then double check at the end, or even, I usually just do it as I'm going through each primer, so I don't have to pull them out each time. But just make sure that that's flush, and then you're good to go. So after this, we're going to go over water weight sorting. So this one actually was just a touch high, so I'm putting it back through. One of my subscribers, B Taylor 73, suggested that water weight sorting can be even more precise to identify inner case volume than the weighing method that I showed you in the second video. So we're going to go over that, and I'll kind of show you some tips, tricks, how that can be done. But thanks for watching. As always, like, subscribe, comment. I want to hear what you think. I want to get your ideas. I think it'd be valuable if you guys who know what you're doing put some input in here to either revise what I've said, add on to what I've said, and let the other guys who are just learning figure out how to do this. So we'll come back next time. We'll do water weight sorting, and then we will finally get into loading our powders and seating our bullets, and get into seating height and overall length and that sort of thing. So thanks, guys.